Greetings, I am Jason, a middle-aged man of 47 years, and today, I wish to recount a profound event from my past, laying bare the intricacies of my life and seeking counsel from those who may offer it. Let us embark on a journey back in time, precisely 12 years ago, when I was bound in matrimony to my first wife, Susan. Our union spanned 7 years, during which we were blessed with 2 offspring, Laura and Lucas, aged 5 and 3, respectively. At the juncture of this tale, the tapestry of our existence was woven with the threads of routine, until an ill-fated day unfolded, forever etched in my memory. It was a morning like any other when the tides of misfortune struck. While navigating the thoroughfares on my commute to work, a vehicle hurtled towards me at an unbridled pace, resulting in a catastrophic collision. The ensuing moments eluded my consciousness, and when I regained awareness, I found myself ensconced in a hospital bed, adorned with swathes of bandages and encumbered by casts. Gratitude spilled forth from my lips as I thanked the benevolent physician who had salvaged my precarious existence. Little did I fathom the calamitous trajectory my life was about to traverse. A week into convalescence, the pall of desolation descended upon me as the doctor, with a heavy heart, divulged the grievous tidings. My lower extremities were rendered inert, and the specter of perpetual immobility loomed large. The weight of this revelation bore down on not only my shoulders but also on Susan, my wife, who now bore the sole responsibility of managing the household and caring for our young progeny. A profound sense of despair enveloped me as I grappled with the harsh reality of life tethered to a wheelchair. In the sterile confines of the hospital room, my days were spent in a melancholic reverie, gazing at the walls that seemed to close in on me, harboring resentment for the cruel twist fate had orchestrated. The dreams of playing soccer with my children, dancing with my beloved wife, and relishing the sweet taste of freedom became distant mirages. To compound the agony, Susan's visits dwindled, initially punctuating my solitude 3 times a week, a respite that I clung to fervently. Yet, as the sands of time trickled away, so did the frequency of her visits. I beseeched her to bring the children more often, pleading for the solace their presence provided, only to be met with her assertion that the little ones were averse to frequent encounters. Hopelessness burgeoned within me, and then, like a crushing blow, she presented me with divorce papers. A searing declaration accompanied her action, asserting that she could not tether herself to a disabled man. Her youth demanded a semblance of normalcy that I, in my impaired state, could no longer provide. In this dire juncture, my insurance offered a modicum of respite, yet it proved insufficient to stave off the financial abyss. My savings, painstakingly accumulated over the years, were depleted in a futile attempt to offset the mounting expenses. Stripped of financial security, divorced, and grappling with the harsh limitations of my physical condition, I found myself adrift, a vessel battered by the tempestuous winds of fate. In the tumultuous aftermath of my life-altering accident, a cacophony of emotions echoed within me, manifesting in an overwhelming urge to scream, to bang my head against the unforgiving wall, and to curse the capricious hand of fate that had dealt me this bitter hand. It baffles me how I managed to keep myself tethered to sanity during those dark days, but deep within, a burning desire for revenge, like an unyielding flame, stoked my determination. Upon my discharge from the hospital, I found myself in the disheartening predicament of a 35-year-old divorced man, bereft of income, seeking refuge with my parents. At this juncture, I was not only grappling with the emotional scars of a broken marriage but also dependent on my 62-year-old mother, both physically and financially. My mother, a florist, ran a modest shop in the suburbs, her income, supplemented by a pension, barely covering her own expenses. Yet, with unwavering support, she extended a frail lifeline to me, an anchor in the storm of my misfortune. Undeterred, I sought out her newfound sanctuary, a realm where she had ensconced my children. Alas, my pleas for visitation were met with vehement refusals, accompanied by assertions that my progeny had seamlessly integrated into their new familial landscape. A threat of a restraining order loomed over me, a menacing specter, and without the means to procure legal representation, I succumbed to the bitter reality, reluctantly retreating from the pursuit of paternal connection. Less than half a year had elapsed since the cataclysmic accident, a mere blink in time, and yet, Susan had swiftly embraced the arms of another. Disgust enveloped me as I questioned her rapid transition, seeking answers to the speed at which she had replaced me. In my vulnerability, I begged for a chance to prove my worth, only to be met with degrading insults, labeling me a burden and a nuisance. A desperate inquiry into the timeline of her romantic entanglements yielded evasive responses. Had she betrayed our marital vows before the divorce's final ink had dried? The question, dismissed as irrelevant, left me grappling with the profound sense of betrayal. With tears in my eyes, I retreated, defeated and humiliated, seeking solace in the comforting embrace of my mother. As days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, I discerned the untapped potential within the floral business. Leveraging my erstwhile contacts, I secured contracts with event management companies, steering the trajectory of the shop towards unprecedented growth. A team assembled, contracts secured, and a sense of purpose gradually emerged from the ashes of despair. Embarking on a 12-year odyssey, I painstakingly reconstructed my life from the rubble, maneuvering through the labyrinthine complexities of adversity. In this arduous journey, my steadfast ally was none other than my mother, an unwavering pillar of support, offering encouragement to fuel my resurgence. A pivotal moment unfolded a year after my debilitating accident, as I discovered Susan's clandestine plan to uproot my children and relocate with her newfound paramour. Frantically, I hastened to their abode, yearning to catch a fleeting glimpse of my progeny. Alas, my arrival was a mere echo of their departure. My children, ensnared in the vicissitudes of their mother's decisions, had slipped through my fingers. Preceding this heart-wrenching realization, my attempts to bridge the chasm between us were met with Susan's scorn, her verbal barbs driving me away with each futile endeavor. Legal impotence tethered my hands, granting Susan full custody and the unilateral authority to dictate the course of my children's lives. Persistently, over the ensuing 12 years, I pursued avenues to reunite with my children, a quest fraught with repeated disappointments. Susan's ominous threats of arrest, backed by the financial might of Evan, loomed over me, a constant impediment to familial reconciliation. Despite cohabiting for over a decade, Susan and Evan refrained from formalizing their union through marriage. A pivotal moment materialized a year ago when I summoned the courage to petition for joint custody. Strategic considerations prompted me to await the stabilization of my burgeoning event management enterprise before venturing into the legal arena. My endeavor bore fruit as I secured a court decree granting me 15 days of cherished time with my teenagers, aged 17 and 15. Their eagerness to meet me, expressed during court proceedings, infused me with a blend of nervous anticipation and bubbling excitement. An unexpected twist emerged in this narrative, a revelation withheld from the initial chronicle. I am now happily married to Amy, a woman of grace and talent, an interior designer with whom I crossed paths at a serendipitous event 5 years ago. Love blossomed not in a swift tempest but in the quiet cadence of shared moments and camaraderie. Amy, a single mother with a 3-year-old daughter, and I found ourselves kindred spirits, the seeds of a familial bond sown amidst the blooms we crafted for various events. This revelation adds a layer of complexity to the impending reunion with my children, and I find myself grappling with the intricacies of blending our distinct family histories. In the genesis of our event management venture, the seeds of which burgeoned into a flourishing company, the expertise and industry acumen came courtesy of my wife, Amy. With years of experience and an intricate understanding of the business, Amy, with her invaluable contacts, became the catalyst for the establishment of our thriving enterprise. Collaborating with her, I plunged into the realm of event management, and our professional synergy paved the way for a romantic entanglement. A year of courtship ensued, culminating in the joyous union that binds us today. Our domestic tableau is now adorned with the harmonious presence of Amy, her daughter Mia, my venerable mother, and myself, a familial quartet dwelling in contentment. The tapestry of my life, intricate and often convoluted, reveals another thread woven into the narrative, the quest for compensation after the harrowing incident that rendered me incapacitated. Struck by a speeding truck, the onus of compensation lay on the logistics company, the custodians of the behemoth vehicle. In an egregious twist of fate, they managed to evade accountability, manipulating facts and casting blame upon me. Hindered by financial constraints, I couldn't summon the legal might to secure recompense. However, in the wake of my marriage to Amy, the financial constraints lifted, and we embarked on the pursuit of justice, reopening the case with newfound hope buoyed by a competent attorney. Returning to the crux of my familial saga, 3 months hence, the long-awaited reunion with my estranged children materialized. Amy, a beacon of reassurance and support, accompanied me to the airport to welcome Laura, the 15-year-old, and Lucas, the 13-year-old, into our fold. The initial exchange was marked by a blend of excitement and awkwardness as we navigated the uncharted waters of familial reconnection. In an attempt to thaw the frost, I engaged them in conversation about school, deftly avoiding the delicate subject of their mother. A palpable silence enveloped us, and during the homeward journey, the atmosphere crackled with a tension that typifies interactions with teenagers. Amy extended a warm greeting upon our arrival home, only to be met with a surprising reaction from the children, their expressions betraying a hint of astonishment. The subsequent events unraveled in a tapestry of perplexity. Despite their mother's swift transition into a new relationship post our divorce, my remarriage appeared to confound my children. Amy, embodying the epitome of grace, had prepared the guest room for them, and as we gathered for lunch, she unveiled the meticulously planned vacation. Their responses, a curious amalgamation of neutrality, left Amy and me puzzled. Retreat to their quarters followed, and soon after, a call from Susan, their mother, disrupted the fragile equilibrium. Having breached the initial hesitations, my children gradually unfurled the tapestry of their emotions, revealing a reservoir of anger that had festered within them. To my dismay, I learned that Susan, their mother, had manipulated them with a symphony of lies and deception, spinning a narrative that portrayed me as the culprit who callously abandoned them. Eager to rectify the distorted narrative, I laid bare the truth, recounting how it was Susan who swiftly sought solace in the arms of another man when the opportunity presented itself. Despite their tender age during those tumultuous times, my children retained vivid memories of the events, prompting a realization that their mother's version of events was a fabrication. With a heavy heart, I narrated the instances where Susan ushered them into the embrace of the older man, recounting the threats and the relentless barriers she erected between us. I presented the tangible evidence, the restraining order, and a litany of rejected requests to see them. The revelation, a cascade of truth, stirred emotions that welled up in tears, marking the onset of remorse for having believed their mother's mendacious tales for all those years. My younger son, Lucas, disclosed an unsuccessful attempt to reach out to me on social media, a gesture thwarted by Susan's emotional manipulation and a coerced promise to sever contact. As the layers of deception peeled away, my children unveiled a tapestry of hardships they endured. Mistreatment at family gatherings, scoldings from Susan's paramour, and the dichotomy of financial support without emotional presence were etched into their experiences. The revelation of their struggles tugged at my heartstrings, laying bare the toll Susan's choices had taken on their lives. In the aftermath of truth's emergence, we embraced, our shared tears bridging the chasm that had separated us. In a bid to forge new memories and rebuild our fractured bonds, we embarked on a week-long sojourn in Florida. Amidst the sun-kissed landscapes and the soothing rhythm of the ocean waves, Laura and Lucas formed connections with Amy and Mia, my newfound family. The cohesion and joy we experienced were encapsulated in group photos, proudly captioned as a happy family when shared on social media. However, Susan's response was far from jubilant. She chastised my children, accusing them of betrayal for forging connections with us. As they returned, armed with newfound courage, they confronted Susan about her behavior. However, her response echoed with denial and accusations, asserting that I had manipulated them against her. Several months have elapsed since this tumultuous revelation, and despite the lingering shadows of Susan's discontent, my children stand resolute in their commitment to maintain ties with me, unwavering in their pursuit of an authentic connection with her if she continued causing trouble. Susan, cornered by her choices, retreated from the tumult she had stirred, leaving a lingering unease in the wake of her unexpected visit. In the subsequent months, a cascade of developments unfolded, transforming the contours of my life. The protracted legal battle with the logistics company, the very entity responsible for the accident that altered my existence, finally culminated in a victory. Beyond the compensation for the physical and emotional toll of the accident, the courts rectified the injustice of the initial trial, rendering a substantial settlement. This newfound financial security became a conduit for possibilities, an instrument to reshape the future. Susan's revelation unveiled a narrative of opportunism, where she sought solace in the arms of an older man, enticed by the allure of financial security. A man with a history of turbulent liaisons, Susan willingly accepted a role as a mistress, negotiating a precarious arrangement that guaranteed support for her children's education. The narrative, while shedding light on her choices, also underscored the ramifications of decisions made in moments of vulnerability. Frustration simmered within me as Susan emphasized her efforts to secure the children's future, the constant nagging a discordant note in our exchange. I confronted her, highlighting the lack of communication and the unilateral decisions that had defined our past. Her attempts to resurrect the vestiges of our shared history, invoking memories of our wedding day and the birth of our children, fell on deaf ears. I asserted my changed perspective, emphasizing that those memories held no sway over my current reality. Amy, understandably perturbed, navigated the tumult with grace, refusing to amplify the discord. My mother, never a fan of Susan due to her perceived selfishness, didn't mince words, labeling her a gold digger. The convergence of perspectives painted a stark picture of Susan's motives, adding an extra layer of skepticism to her sudden reappearance. The revelation of Susan's behavior reverberated through the familial tapestry, with my children castigating her intrusion and asserting their autonomy. In the complex interplay of emotions and revelations, a new chapter unfolded, as I grappled with the intricacies of past and present, seeking a semblance of closure amidst the echoes of a turbulent history. Other people, but none of those relationships worked out. She admitted that the grass wasn't greener on the other side, and the freedom she sought came at a hefty emotional cost. I listened quietly, still processing the emotional whirlwind of seeing her again after all this time. She went on to share that she realized the value of our connection, the depth of our shared history, and the emotional security that our marriage provided. The revelation of her regret seemed sincere, but it left me grappling with a complex array of emotions. Part of me felt vindicated, a subtle acknowledgement that the choices she made came with their own set of consequences. Yet, beneath the surface of this validation, there was a reservoir of pain, a reminder of the profound wounds inflicted by the dissolution of our decade-long partnership. As she continued to unravel her introspections, the conversation took an unexpected turn. She expressed a desire to reconcile, to rebuild what was lost. The plea for a second chance hung in the air, and I found myself caught between the echoes of past hurt and the tentative prospect of a renewed connection. She acknowledged the gravity of her mistakes and the toll it took on both of us. In this moment of vulnerability, I grappled with a cascade of conflicting emotions. The scars of betrayal were still etched into the fabric of my being, and the prospect of rekindling a flame that had once burned bright now seemed like a precarious endeavor. The passage of time had allowed me to heal, to reconstruct the fragments of my life, and the prospect of revisiting a tumultuous past stirred a sense of trepidation. Our meeting concluded with a tentative agreement to reflect on the possibility of reconciliation. As I retreated to the solitude of my thoughts, the complex tapestry of our shared history loomed large. The decision ahead was weighty, a delicate dance between forgiveness and self-preservation. The journey that unfolded in the days to come would undoubtedly shape the narrative of our entwined destinies, as the echoes of our past reverberated into an uncertain future. Throughout the course of our workdays, a profound connection between us blossomed. She was the first to express her feelings for me when I relocated, and initially hesitant due to the potential complications of an office romance, we succumbed to love's irrefutable force. In secret, we embarked on a journey of dating, shielding our burgeoning romance from the prying eyes of office gossip. As our love flourished, we decided to unveil our relationship to our colleagues, receiving mostly supportive reactions, though a few raised eyebrows. Our married life commenced as a blissful chapter filled with shared dreams and aspirations. We epitomized the essence of a power couple, complementing each other's strengths and steadfastly supporting one another through life's challenges. However, a turning point emerged when I ascended to a higher position within the company. The new role brought forth added responsibilities and demanding hours, causing me to immerse myself entirely in my work, unintentionally neglecting the emotional needs of my wife. As I toiled to meet the demands of my job, the once strong bond between us gradually frayed. She longed for the attention and affection that had characterized the early stages of our relationship. In a moment of vulnerability, she suggested a vacation to rekindle the spark in our marriage. Regrettably consumed by work commitments, I dismissed the idea as impractical and unnecessary, oblivious to the fissures forming in our relationship's foundation. The breaking point arrived when my wife found solace in the companionship of someone at her workplace. This person showered her with attention, becoming a seemingly understanding confidant. In a moment of weakness, she succumbed to the allure of this newfound connection, confessing to an affair and expressing a desire for a divorce. The revelation of infidelity shattered me, blindsided by the betrayal that reduced our once unbreakable bond to shattered fragments. My professional success, achieved at the cost of my personal life, exacted a heavy toll, the disintegration of our marriage. In the aftermath of our separation, the echoes of our love lingered like ghostly shadows, haunting the corridors of my memory. The scars of heartbreak etched into the tapestry of my soul, and the hope of reconciliation remained elusive. Airport for my business trip. When I arrived at her mother's house to drop off the kids, I was greeted by an unfamiliar car parked in the driveway. Suspicion began to gnaw at the edges of my consciousness, and a sense of unease settled in. As I approached the front door, I heard laughter and animated conversation emanating from within. The atmosphere seemed charged with a clandestine energy that eluded the usual familial ambience. With a heavy heart, I entered the house, guided by an instinctive sense that something was amiss. The scene that unfolded before me was like a punch to the gut, a visceral shock that reverberated through every fiber of my being. My wife, the woman with whom I had shared years of my life, stood there with a man I had never seen before. Their intimacy, the shared laughter, the unspoken connection, it painted a tableau of betrayal that left me momentarily paralyzed. In that excruciating moment, time seemed to freeze as the weight of reality sank in. The woman I had loved, the mother of my children, stood before me entwined with a stranger, and the shards of a shattered marriage lay strewn across the landscape of our shared history. The words exchanged, the explanations offered, seemed distant echoes as the emotional tempest within me raged. I grappled with the duality of emotions, the searing pain of betrayal and the numbing shock of discovery. The man she introduced as her new partner appeared unfazed by my presence, and my attempts to comprehend the unraveling of my life felt like navigating a labyrinth of emotional turmoil. As I stumbled out of the house, the weight of the truth settled on my shoulders like a leaden shroud. The facade of the idyllic family life I had meticulously crafted lay in ruins, replaced by the harsh reality of infidelity. The betrayal cut deep, a wound that bled not only in the present but also seeped into the recesses of shared memories, casting a shadow over the joyous moments we had once cherished. In the aftermath of that revelation, I found myself grappling with the wreckage of my marriage, questioning the authenticity of the love that had once bound us together. The journey of healing, of rebuilding, stretched before me like an uncertain road, as I navigated the complexities of co-parenting, the echoes of heartbreak, and the slow process of piecing together a fractured sense of self. Manipulation and not to be swayed by her pleas and attempts at reconciliation. I focused on creating a stable and supportive environment for my children, shielding them from the tumultuous aftermath of our shattered marriage. The betrayal I experienced was not only from my wife but also from an intruder who infiltrated our home under the guise of being a substitute father for my children. The audacity of this secret friend, engaging in an illicit relationship with my wife while playing a paternal role in my absence, left me incensed and fueled my determination to put an end to this deceit. Taking decisive action, I orchestrated a scenario to catch them in the act, revealing the truth to my wife's mother and dismantling the facade of our marriage. The shock on my wife's face as she realized her carefully constructed charade had crumbled spoke volumes, and I spared no effort in ensuring her immediate departure from our shared space. In the aftermath, I prioritized the well-being of my children, ensuring their stability and security. The paternity test confirmed my biological connection to them, alleviating any doubts and solidifying my commitment to being their steadfast parent. I navigated the legal complexities with the guidance of a capable attorney, securing custody and shielding my children from further emotional turmoil. While contemplating the possibility of remarriage in the future, I recognize that my primary focus is on nurturing and guiding my children through the aftermath of a fractured family. The scars of betrayal run deep, and as a father, my responsibility lies in providing a nurturing environment for my kids to heal and thrive. Despite the attempts at manipulation by my ex-wife, using our children as conduits for reconciliation, I remain resolute in my commitment to their well-being. The warning I've imparted to them serves as a shield against emotional manipulation, ensuring that their emotional welfare remains paramount. In the face of adversity, I've emerged as a protective and devoted father, navigating the tumultuous waters of post-divorce life with resilience and a steadfast commitment to the happiness and stability of my children. The journey ahead may be challenging, but my unwavering dedication to their welfare propels me forward, one step at a time.